Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with baked eggplant sandwiches. That's right, I got a few requests for fried eggplant for like Super Bowl appetizer type stuff, which reminded me of this amazing baked eggplant sandwich that I hadn't made for years and years. And while it's not exactly fried eggplant, it is superior in that it's stuffed with salami and cheese. So let me show you how to make these. They're a little bit messy to prepare, but very easy and totally worth it. Step one, we're going to slice up some eggplant. A 1/4 inch is probably too thin, a 1/2 inch probably a little too big, so just under a 1/2 inch, what's that, 3/8? I should have showed you this using a ruler, but I was afraid someone would walk into the kitchen while I was measuring an eggplant. That's a bad look. So nice thick slices, just like that. And I know a lot of people like to salt their eggplant slices to draw out the bitter liquid, and then they rinse them and dry them. We're not doing that. Not necessary, okay? And you can read about that on the blog too, but just slice them up. So once your eggplant's cut, you're going to grab a slice, you're going to match it with the slice that was next to it, because we're making little sandwiches, we want these to be as close in size as possible. And yes, because an eggplant's tapered, some of these sandwiches are going to be a little larger than others. They all should be the same thickness, which is the important part, but sizes will vary. It's all part of the fun. Once you have your eggplant all paired up, on the bottom slice, you're going to put a 1/4 slice of provolone cheese, 3 thin slices of salami, all right, another 1/4 slice of provolone, and we're intentionally placing the cheese just in the middle that will slowly spread out as it cooks, so we don't want it near the edge. You're going to top that with the top half of the eggplant, and that one's prepped. All right, so once more with feeling. It's eggplant, cheese, salami, cheese, eggplant. All right, very simple. And by the way, you do not want to overfill these. I know it doesn't look like much in there, but it will be the perfect proportion, you'll see. Unlike most things in life, restraint is important here. Okay, so don't overstuff these. So once all your eggplant sandwiches are built, you are ready for the old classic breading station, which is seasoned flour, right? Read about that on the blog, beaten egg, and some very fine breadcrumbs. I guess you could use panko for this, but I've always used the traditional fine dry breadcrumb. All right, you're going to take one of your sandwiches, you're going to dip it in the flour on both sides. All right, make sure it's coated generously, shake off the excess. You're going to dip it into your egg mixture. All right, again, make sure it's coated perfectly. All right, breadcrumb does not stick to flour. It loves to stick to eggs, but not to flour. So make sure that's coated well. All right, place that in your breadcrumb pan. And I like to use a spoon to spoon over the breadcrumbs so I keep at least one of my hands dry. All right, press that in firmly. Shake off the excess. And then we're going to place those on a foil-lined baking sheet. But before we do, you want to drizzle down a little bit of olive oil. All right, a couple teaspoons just like that. Roughly the size of the eggplant sandwich. Place it down, and then drizzle over about the same amount on top. We're going to finish that with just a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese, very finely grated. All right, just a little dusting on each. And then what's going to happen, we're basically going to fry these in the oven at a high temperature, 425. And what we'll do is we'll do 10 minutes on this side. We'll flip them over, put some more cheese on, give them 10 minutes on that side, and they should be perfect. All right, let's test my theory. So they go in for 10 minutes. All right, we're going to flip them over. That cheese should have glued both sides together, but be careful when you flip it. And you'll see those are starting to brown nicely. And I'm doing this without a lot of oil. The Italians I learned this from used way more oil, but I don't think you need a ton. All right, so you're going to flip those over. You're going to dust that side with Parmesan cheese. We're going to put those back in the oven for another 8 to 10 minutes until they're well browned and the eggplants cook through. Look how gorgeous those are. And yes, you may have a little bit of cheese that drips out the side. That's totally normal. All right, the French call that leakage du fromage. All right, and it's nothing to be afraid of. Once they come out, I usually flip them over. The other side should be a little browner. By the way, any of the cheese that did drip out, just push up against the sandwich. It will stick to it, and when it cools, you will have bonus caramelized cheese remnants attached to your sandwich. Always a delicious addition. All right, I'm going to transfer those onto a cooling rack, and then very important, listen to me now, but hear me later. These are not supposed to be eaten hot. These are not even supposed to be eaten warm. These are intended to be eaten room temperature. Why? It's an Italian thing. But once they're cooled down to room temperature, go ahead and throw that on a plate. Maybe you're serving it as a lunch with a little salad and some olives. Maybe you're going to cut these in half and put them on a tray for a party. All right, very versatile and incredibly tasty. Look at that. That slightly crunchy outside, that soft, earthy, moist eggplant. And what's not to like about provolone and salami? Nothing. Those things are always delicious. All right? And you can see there, even though we only put a few thin slices, we have plenty of filling. And of course, obviously, you can use this exact same technique and fill these with whatever you want. Just do not overstuff. That's really the key. Anyway, like I said, a little bit messy to make, but not hard at all, and the payoff is very, very worthwhile. All right? So I really hope you give these a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.